was my father's kingdom. A place of fairness. But the queen changed everything.
Take him away!
Your Majesty,
What did you say?
the people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated. Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, Majesty. But a lovely maiden I now behold.
I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them all.
The queen is evil. You must flee into the woods.
My parents always said this forest was a magical place. Hello? Is there anybody here?
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost.
You'll be safe from the queen here.
The queen stole everything from all of us. We're gonna need your help. It's time to restore our kingdom.
Waiting on a wish, holding out for someday, hoping somehow, some way, there comes a miracle.
Find Snow White.
I close my eyes and see the girl I meant to be.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
You were saying. I'm sorry, my dear. Did I frighten you?
Hi, TFC listeners. Welcome to another episode of The Faithful Critic. So today, our topic of discussion, I'm going to appeal to the men to still continue watching even when you hear and even when you read which title it is, and to support Steve by commenting below on another movie we can watch.
I'm sorry. This is how you just throw me in the fire.
Yes, because these are the effects.
I might have been coerced to this.
Yeah.
No. I mean, were you coerced to wear pink today as well?
Ooh.
Okay, sorry. My apologies.
So yeah, mhurumie gangster points zake bado zibaki strong even after this entire episode. Please, respectability politics remain. Sawa? So even with the next question, even if he answers, your gangster points remain 100. Sindio?
Zimepigwa damage. So next movie is usually WWE or something.
This is very sad.
Or Monster
Because
Truck.
if you didn't draw attention to the fact, they probably wouldn't have noticed. Now they've just deducted it, even without listening. They won't listen further, but they'll have deducted.
Please listen further, because there's a lot of depth. We'll find the depth in this movie. Yeah, we'll find it. So acha nianze nawe Ashley. So which are your favorite Disney princesses?
Oh wait, this is before we even reveal what movie we are doing today.
I think watakuwa washasoma kwa title.
Okay. Honestly, I wasn't like I didn't watch like a lot of Disney princesses growing up, so even like my like isn't too nini. Does Shrek's wife count as?
Actually, she
Fiona,
does.
Princess Fiona, Shrek's wife.
Yeah, but now the thing is, I think
I'm sorry, Shrek's
because
wife.
she's so then I can open it up to just princesses in general that she can fit in. That is specific to a Disney
Ilikuwa parody.
princess.
Ilikuwa tu parody pale.
Yeah.
But she's still kind of like an actual good princess.
Okay,
Yeah.
she is though. She
Okay,
is.
then
For
if she
sure.
counts, I guess Princess Fiona. Yeah.
Because she actually does save herself and Shrek, especially in the second movie. She's actually a very forward thinking princess, even if she still maintains the tropes of a princess. where she's still beautiful, she still lives in a castle, she's still to
Wait,
be
like-
saved, but she has the basic tropes, but she's more forward thinking compared to now, like how Disney princesses are kind of depicted. I think that's also why DreamWorks did Shrek anyway.
Yeah, okay.
That's a
Thank you
good
for the
choice.
exposition, but yeah, Princess Fiona.
That's a good choice.
I wonder.
Or he can answer prince as well, or king.
Yeah, fine.
No, but then if he said king, he'll... Okay.
But they have to be animated.
They have to be animated.
Yeah.
Can they be anime?
Fine.
So the roll of the eyes. So there's this princess in One Piece, and I told Princess Vivi, in a kingdom called Alabasta. It's like a kingdom in the dust desert regions. Na kuna kwa revolution ile happen huko. So this princess is a very she's strong in my list of princesses. But if you're going for Disney princesses, pia wakona. Was Rapunzel?
Yes, she is entangled.
Tangled. Tangled was a fun movie, I think. Right?
It was.
Might have been.
Yeah.
So maybe I liked her from there.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah, I think if it's not Princess Fiona, I really like Jasmine from Aladdin.
Yes. I also love Jasmine.
Oh,
Yeah, even the remake of Aladdin.
You watched it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
actually really good.
Okay.
But let no boy fool you who grew up watching or listening to those fairy tales, or just watching, not listening to, like, or reading those books. They had crushes on those princesses.
What?
Tears.
So I think yako inafaa ikuwe.
I think Jasmine akoko tia by the way. I think akoko. Na ule wa hii inaitwaje? There was another one called I forget, but it must have been one of those Prince of Egypt, Inakaka Prince of Egypt.
Oh, Atlantis. The one with the white hair with a blue feet.
It must have been.
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Yeah. I know her.
Gangster pointers zimeisha wazi. Gangster pointers.
Hapa reclaim.
Oh, okay.
Because she's
Lakini mi
looked
hata sikuwa
at the
napenda hizo
princesses from a male perspective,
male
which
gaze.
in my mind was like, what?
No, yeah, like the imagination. Anyway.
Yeah, the movie is called Atlantis. Disney. I think I know the lady you're saying.
Yeah.
It's her.
Okay. Is it that one? I think ni ya kitambo kuliko hii.
Guys, can we get back on
But
track?
sawa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, I think it's her.
Okay. Might be.
Yeah, Google Atlantis. You'll see who I'm referencing. So yeah, as
Or
the preamble-
the Moon Princess in Avatar. Last year Bender.
Oh yeah,
The one who became a
she's
moon.
Nice, yeah.
She's cool.
For me, it's Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and if it's not her, it's Merida from the movie Brave. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, the one with the
know it.
red hair.
Yes.
Wait. Did you just say Belle? Munchausen by proxy. Did I say it right? Really? Why Belle?
Yeah, it's Belle because I think when I was
Sorry,
young.
can the psychologist explain what Munchausen by proxy is?
No, I can't.
Okay, but okay, sorry. Okay.
You can't or you're refusing.
Okay. It's the thing where like you fall in love with your captor or something.
Oh, yeah.
Is it that one?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay.
But now in that one, it's more like a projected. From what I understand, there's also like a projected need for being saved from the captor as well.
Isn't
Sorry,
that all Disney
sorry.
princesses? I'm
Munchausen
sorry.
by proxy is where like the mother makes her child sick.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not that one. The one for falling in love with the captor. Let me search it.
I think it's Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Yes. So I think I liked Belle because amongst the Disney princesses that we were watching at the time, because we had that 13-in-1 DVD that my mom bought us. So me and Lillian watched all the Disney animations like back to back. So it also had the Lion Kings. It also had like Tarzan. It had almost all the Disney shows, and it may not even be one. There may have been several. So we grew up watching all of them back to back. So from that list, I loved Ariel's songs. But then in terms of the characterization, I felt like Belle was the smart one because she was reading books.
And
so
walking while reading books.
Yeah, so I think that's what made me gravitate to her. And I thought her love story was a bit more like out of this world compared to the ones, which is ironic. I don't know why, but I just did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting dynamic couple. A bit, yeah. I see.
And her desire to like be more than what her provincial town.
Yeah. I want more than this provincial life.
And it was set in France. There's also that. So I think that's why, like, yeah, I just love Belle of all the other ones. But I didn't think she was the prettiest of them. But I don't know why she was called Belle. But yeah, I loved Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, so as we go, with that being said, our movie that we're reviewing today is Snow White. And we're doing the Snow White 2025 remake. So I'll be very brief with what the plot happens in the plot. So I think we know like the flow of Snow White. Snow White is the fairest in the land. But in the case of the 2025 version, fairness means to be equal, to have the ability to show equity to everyone. That's what fairness means. So she's named Snow White because she was born on a night that had a very heavy snowstorm and she was able to survive. So her parents named her after the snow. Yeah, that was white. Yes.
Very creative.
She grew up with perfect parents, which is, the recipe for Disney plot writers to kill them off. So they die, but the mom dies first. The king remarries to a very beautiful woman. Almost, according to the plot, it was almost immediate. Like it felt immediate. So he remarries to a woman. The woman turns out to be evil, lies to the king. The king goes off to like a war and he's killed. So Baki, Snow White. And so since the queen has a magic mirror, she's the one who has, the Snow White evil queen line. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It is you, my dear queen, who's the fairest of the land. And a song to her ears. Until Snow White comes of age, she meets a bandit who comes and tries to rob the palace because the queen has been hoarding a lot of the wealth. Comes to rob the palace because they are hungry, but he's caught, he's arrested. The bandit tells Snow White, at the time he didn't know it was the princess, tells Snow White that the princess no longer fights for us. She is gone. She's just like a whisper, I guess, as like a myth kind of, kitu kayo. But Snow White now is emboldened to now go and speak to the queen and tell her, hey, you madam, you have to now like treat your people well. And yeah, that's basically where her story begins. And so now the mirror shifts when Snow White does this character shift, and also the mirror shifts from now calling the queen as the fairest of them all to calling Snow White the fairest of them all, which is also a plot kind of like contrived asterisk, but we shall go back there. Yeah, so she goes to the forest because now the queen is after her because she wants to kill her, sends the huntsman spares her life. She goes into the forest, finds animals who help her, is able to meet 7 magical creatures. They help her and she bonds with them with a song. And then, the queen finds out that she's still alive. She decides to disguise herself as an old woman to trick Snow White into eating the apple. Snow White does eat the apple, dies for 5 minutes, goes back to the castle, and basically wins the fight against the queen through the power of remembering names.
Remembering who people were, before they became soldiers.
Yeah. And that is the...
Oh, the queen. How does the queen die?
Oh, and the queen dies by being eaten by the mirror after it breaks.
Yeah. Which, what? Okay, so.
Yeah.
such contrived plots, because even like it's we let us just discuss it now. And first of all, are apples really that appealing? Because kuna your apple, okay, the Garden of Eden is not really an apple, but it's alluded to.
Yeah.
That it's an
It's
apple.
always depicted. Like, honestly, even when I think about it, I think...
You just think an apple. So, like, is an apple is really that fruit? Like the OG fruits?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I mean, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is that the quote?
Yeah.
It's a quote, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe they have PR. They have good PR. Eat an apple, guys. Eat your apples.
Would you eat that apple?
But no, that apple was too appealing. I'm sorry, it was too red. Like an appealing
kind of red.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want my apples with a bit of blemish. Some what you gonna stripe your green mali? I'm equal to red green or something. I don't know. Or like with spots as a black. That's fine. I want my apple looking like it came from a tree, not some factory.
Not made from a potion.
Hey, not some.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, she was the queen was like, yeah, go for the apple. Like, it looked like she wanted that. I'm never gonna eat something someone wants me to eat that badly. So yeah.
Or even eat something from someone that looks
exactly
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she could have like transformed into at least their grandparents who are.
Oh yeah,
quotes,
but
quotes,
then
cute.
that
Like,
would actually be a really good just subversion of that trope if she was actually a really well put together like the queen, like the Queen of England, like angeshow up evil, and ooh,
maybe it wouldn't be an apple, it would be biscuits.
Oh yeah. That would actually be like a very interesting subversion that would kind of add something new to the tale that they did in 1937. So now, what are your thoughts on the movie?
You wanna go first?
Okay, I can. Okay, so the movie actually had a lot of hate from the very beginning when like the cast was announced, because from the initial movie, Snow White was supposed to be like very pale, very, very fair. So yeah, who's the fairest of them all? It was supposed to be Snow White because of her looks. And they kind of changed that to be what you said, like more equality. Do you treat people like justly? Which again doesn't make sense, because through this film, the Queen had not shown an inch of fairness anyways. So yeah, there was that. And then now the casting of the main character, Rachel, was controversial because she's not white, she's Latino. But that's neither here or there, because even like the Little Mermaid, they did Halle Bailey,
who's black.
Yeah, who's black. Yeah, and it was still okay. But I think also there was a lot of controversies because she seemed like she didn't really care much for the original, didn't like respect the original movie, and she's going to be playing a princess. But ultimately, I think she did actually a very good job. Like, if people could like put aside the biases of like her personality, like in person, like she's an excellent singer. I think she sang her little heart out. She's so good. And okay, now the plot of the movie, I feel like was very, very contrived. It was they were very intentional on correcting the perceived wrongs of the initial movie and making it for the modern context. They were cancelling some things there. So I feel like it had many like turns that it didn't need to have, things that didn't end up going anywhere. Snow White saves herself. I don't know whether she saves herself really, but she kind of saves herself by remembering the people, which was not believable. She remembers, you used to be a baker, you used to give your goods to everyone.
He used to be a family.
Used to be a mama. And then they're like, no, we're going to go against the queen. All of a sudden, we were very willing to follow her evil commands.
Remember how we were communists back in the day? Remember? Yes, we remember. It was fun. We shared everything.
And then also, how I feel like, man, that was a bit of a downsizing from Prince Snow White finding a Prince Charming to a bandit.
Doesn't really read as woke as they were trying to make it seem.
But it was,
and also a bandit who, just as a note to his character, I feel like he negged her a lot. Like
Absolutely.
And
He does
I don't
this
like
song
when
where
Sorry.
she-
You guys are
people
just
do-
throwing words now.
do that.
Like at this point in time, just hold. What did you say, Ned?
So by nagging, I mean when you're either meeting someone new or starting something with someone, and in the initial stages they try to make fun of you in a very demeaning
mean way. Yeah.
in a very demeaning and mean way, to kind of take you lower than where you are actually at, so that you can meet in that same level.
Okay.
Yeah, because he has like this whole song about princess problems. Like that's like she was living in her world in the princess in the palace where it's comfortable, and now she doesn't understand the problems of the real world.
Which is actually not true, because she was a maid when she was in the castle the entire time.
So I felt like even the romance arc just came all of a sudden. Like if it'd been nice to her from the very beginning, maybe it would make sense. But then now it was all of a sudden. So I think I was okay. You see, I feel like I had a bit of a bias because of how people were saying the movie was bad. But then like when I watched it, I didn't feel like it was that bad. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. So yeah, I had my biases as well. I didn't want to watch it for same exact reasons. I didn't like the character she was presenting in the interviews. When I saw the interviews and the whole controversy surrounding the actress rather, she acted well as Snow White, honestly, surprisingly well. But I didn't like the movie. And these are the reasons I didn't like the movie. It didn't need to be made. It did not need to be made. It was pointless. One, if we go to like all the scales that we're putting there, creativity, nini, all these things, nothing for me there is outstanding.
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
any addition that they made to the original wasn't that creative. It wasn't that.
it wasn't. The dwarves did not look appealing. I'm sorry. Every time I saw those dwarves in my screen, I was just like, who are these?
Jump scare.
Who are these scary people? Scary small people. I'm
Because
so
they're magical creatures, because that's how they tried to reframe them.
I see, magical
so that they
creatures.
can be CGI'd and not like actual real actors.
So, and they tried to ensure they have the same faces, same facial expressions as the original. But then in live, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
They look a bit intimidating, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like if a child dreamt, like I'm thinking,
Yeah.
play a scary motif to the face of one of those. Like maybe, it doesn't sound like a very interesting movie.
Maybe even someone has already done it, like done an because people do it. They do scary edits of even comedies, and so they just put the music behind it. And even there's one they've done a scary edit of like The Shining, so that very intense scene they've put like a more bouncy song, and you realize, wait, it's actually not
It was
as
the music.
intense.
It wasn't the scene.
Like I'm like Snow White is in their house sleeping, and then they come and find that there's an intruder, and then they're the ones who are scared. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. She should be scared. She should be scared.
Also, I feel like it wasn't as easy to get like even the names of the dwarfs themselves. When I watched the original, I got the names, and even the names match their personalities. Like even the sneezy guy, I didn't even see him sneezing.
Wait,
there.
He was sneezing. He was sneezing. By the way, he was.
I can't even remember.
I just remember
Sneezy
something
was
about
there.
hay fever or something. He
Oh,
said
he was
has.
sneezing though.
Oh no, that was in the original. He says he's allergic to hay fever and to do pollen and to do all these other things. I didn't even get the personalities or characters.
Yeah, they're
in
not as strong, except Dopey, because now Dopey is the one who's singled out, and Grumpy.
Yeah,
Grumpy
even
as
Grumpy,
well.
I didn't feel Grumpy's impact as much
angry
as
as
the
in
original. Yeah.
Yeah, so a story that didn't need to be retold. I'm sorry, Disney, but you can't keep retelling old stories.
Said by an
Find new
African
stories.
here making
Who's not
a
making
review.
anything?
No, making a review of them.
Yeah, making a review of them.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
But actually, like this whole thing
the
made them
nostalgia trips.
cancel Tangled. I think it's now the production for Tangled, the Rapunzel one, is now on hold.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think this whole experience has also taught them we don't need the remakes
Yeah,
because
we
it
don't need
really didn't do well. Yeah. Might change, but yeah.
I hope not. Because when I was watching this one, I watched it with a friend who we also had a story. We're like, okay, first he negs you, then he saves you for like no apparent reason, which in my opinion, she could just have pushed her and the arrow would just have gone and missed. So I was like, you didn't actually need to take that arrow because ungeenda tu mskume alafu ungeenda tu chwa ipotee. And then after that they fall in love through one song. The pacing was really off for that story.
Yeah, and you see now that's a little like corners on tangents. Then you need
trying to justify that she actually fell in love with this man and not like a so happened kiss that happened in the first one. So yeah, I agree with you guys on Rachel. I think it's probably her personality that just didn't really come off well with the public, especially the American public, when she was promoting the movie or when she was talking about the movie. But now my one with the actresses was Gal Gadot, the evil queen. I love villain characters because a good movie is as good as a villain, especially in animation. If Ursula was not Ursula, Little Mermaid would not have worked. If Gaston was not as menacing and as vain as he was, but like Beauty and the Beast would not have worked. Have you guys watched The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I have. Oh, I love that.
If that priest was not as menacing, it would not have worked. And unfortunately, like Gal is a good actress in some roles. Like she should just work with roles that work for her. But in this one, I did not. No, Z.
Yeah, and I feel like now people started like piling on and doing like, the edits of like
her other roles,
her other lines that she's delivered in a funny way. Yeah,
because there are actors who like I think she just needs to find, or rather her team needs to find something that works for her, because you can just be one note and that's fine. Because guys like Kevin Hart, The Rock, who else? Even Jackie Chan is a little
Jason
bit one.
Statham.
Yeah, they're kind of one note, but they know they are line and
they know
they
the
stick
niche. They know the
to
niche.
it, and it works for them. So I think they just should find that for Gal, and it will work for her. Yeah, the singing was great, but the music wasn't as memorable.
Yeah. Like we don't have I always wanted a brother moment
from
any
song.
of the songs. Yeah.
I think
from which movie? From which movie? I always wanted a brother.
Yeah, also from Mufasa the Lion King, which we have also reviewed. Go check it out if you haven't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please and thank you. The other nitpick before our time runs out on this discussion would be on the world building. So I was actually shocked. I thought the movie didn't have a huge budget so that they can do like this whole production of an actual big village or town and make the forest more, I don't know, elaborate or things like those, just to flesh out the place. But no, they had like $200 million and I think they hired like 4 extras for that village. That village was so tiny. She was ruling 5 people in that village. Because like when Snow White comes out singing in triumph, wanting to conquer and wanting to like save her kingdom, I'm like,
what kingdom?
That's it. Like you guys are, I can count you people. You're like 100. Where are the other extras? What is this world? I didn't think it was lived in. It didn't feel, and that's why it was even so off-putting when she started mentioning the townsmen. Because it was like, okay, and they're still so. It was no wonder she could remember everyone.
Yeah.
Because their kingdom has 10 people.
10 people. Yeah.
Even in the palace when she's cleaning, there's no one in the palace. She's just cleaning by herself.
Wait, but to be fair, in the original, there's no one in the palace usually.
Yeah, but now the story doesn't try to tell us that there are other people outside. It's just contained with the palace and the dwarf's house and the forest. That's just the storyline. So they don't try and build and create like people outside of it. So now when they do that, it makes it even more jarring that, hey, you guys, I feel like Disney didn't even want this movie. I think even them themselves, they knew it's going to be chaotic because
because honestly, if you compare, like Mufasa and Snow White have come out at nearly the same time, but like if you compare like the
marketing, and the
hype, the everything for Mufasa,
they knew.
I couldn't get Aaron Pierre off my Instagram,
for almost 2 months. They didn't push it.
It's been
I think
very-
Yeah, they didn't push it down our throats. What they pushed down our throats was what was not likable, which kind of
which
made
now
people
other
now
people-
associate
Yeah.
that distaste for one particular moment with the entire production. Now they're just like, I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So now with the story that tries to reframe the fairest of them all, which even if it doesn't work, we'll still discuss it. So in the initial 37 movie,
Hey.
the fairest of them all is more in the line of beauty. And it's kind of put that the queen is vain. And so that is why she's in pursuit of that beauty. But in the end, I guess beauty triumphs because Snow White wins. I don't know. But do you think there is power in beauty?
Pretty privilege.
Yeah.
There is power in beauty. And is it
I don't know.
important
I
then?
would love to see the research if there is a study that's been done on people who are perceived to be more.
Yeah.
There is.
There is actually research.
There is.
Yeah. Pretty privilege
Pleasant
is
to
like
look
one
at.
of the
Having a higher
Huge,
chance of
yeah.
success or having a higher chance of getting certain opportunities and
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
We're biased in that way. Like, if people look good in our eyes or according to our metrics,
Yeah.
then there's a very good chance we esteem them already, kind of give them a benefit of doubt or like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just
Okay.
more willing to give them opportunities in a
Yeah.
sense. Or just
Yeah.
spend more time with them. We're just like, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of this line. If a good-looking guy approaches a lady, that's courting or flirting. But if a not so good-looking guy approaches a lady, that's harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's deemed harassment based on the perceived attractiveness
of the
the
person.
person approaching.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or okay, there's also this argument that so if someone is maybe more attractive and maybe part of the attractiveness is due to maybe how fit they are or something, someone may have like the notion of they're disciplined or something. So there's also
Even if they're just naturally
lean.
physically fit.
Yeah.
You know what? Interestingly, even in football, there's something called pretty privilege.
Really?
Yeah. Like a football player who looks visually appealing is seen as a hotter prospect.
Or a better
Can be seen as, will be hyped more in a sense than someone who's maybe not as visual.
Because I always wonder, why are the
attractive,
more
yeah.
handsome players strikers? Like, is that a thing? Like, because they're the ones who are promoted as the face of the team.
Yeah.
So I usually wonder, is that a thing? Like, because someone like me who's not a fan or doesn't know, like, is Hamilton a footballer?
No.
Like,
He's in sports though, so yeah. You're not too far away.
Oh, Lewis Hamilton. The F1, it's F1, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I
Where does he drive?
He used to drive Mercedes. I think he went to Red Bull.
is a Ferrari.
Oh, Ferrari. Okay.
He went somewhere. You were
Okay,
close. You were
I was
close.
close?
You were close.
Okay, so thanks.
Close enough.
So
I'll
now
give you 70%. Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's just my bias. I'm not that interested in
Yeah.
sports. But now, is it a thing? Like, do they specifically scout more attractive players as strikers compared to like centers, or they defend?
I honestly don't know. But I think that for a case example like Hamilton, and then let me just classify him with all the other F1 drivers. He's I'm not going to say whether he's attractive or not. That would make fine, or he's perceived as attractive by
say that.
many people. And in a sense, that please silence. So that means he kind of has a larger following on all his socials. He has a bigger brand identity.
Wait, could you say that's why more people follow Ronaldo than Messi?
Perhaps.
Yeah, because Messi is not conventionally as attractive as
Even though one would
as
say he's
Ronaldo. He is still,
Yeah.
but
the greatest footballer
No,
of all
but
time.
even
Yeah.
think about it. Like all the influencers we see on social media, all of them, most of them are
yeah, they are attractive.
Really
I feel like
attractive.
that there's because you guys actually nailed it spot on when you said pretty privileged, because there is a lot of power with beauty, especially social capital. There's a lot,
It's
because
true.
basically if you're attractive and you just put a camera on your face and you lip sync one song, you're the next like Britney Spears put here guys like Addison Rae or these are especially the American influencers. Just be attractive.
like even if you look at Addison Rae, who's Charlie D'Amelio.
Yes,
she got
that's the
famous
name.
because she was very attractive and she was just dancing.
She was just dancing.
Yeah, pretty privilege is a thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in beauty. And
Interestingly, even though we've gone around in this circle, it's interesting that life kind of equalizes that out. I mean, we'll all age ultimately.
yeah.
And
yeah.
the metric for beauty, it's either you push your whatever, your ideologies change depending on the age, and you're kind of thinking about it differently, or you just like don't think about it too much because it's like I was attractive. Like, old people would be looking at their pictures when they were younger and being, I looked pretty good back in the day. I could get them ladies. But it's like, it's for a season. It's like you're transiting through life.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who are refusing to make it for a season.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
They've said no.
And that's basically the concept in the film. It actually made me think about
wrinkle.
Dorian Gray. Do you know Dorian Gray, the urban legend? So this guy there's this painting. So he wants to live a sensual life of lasciviousness and all this bad things.
Okay,
Please.
Go on.
So there's this painting.
Podcast.
There's this painting is some kind of curse that is upon him, where he's able to maintain his youth, never grow old. But this painting of him called always ages and kind of accumulates the weight of vanity and sin that he kind of goes after when he's seeking that sensuality. So that's
like
the whole. The painting grows.
Rot.
Yeah, it looks terrible. It's like a depiction of him now, and I think you can just read more on Dorian Gray. It's quite interesting, honestly. And that's what I was thinking about when I thought of like that fixation with beauty and youth and what it brings and the sensuality of youth.
Yeah, but even if you look at it in the Bible, what was the initial question? So that I see whether I'm answering.
No,
the
just go on the time.
No, about pretty privilege. Like,
Yeah.
God also kind of used pretty privilege, like in Esther, to save the Israelites.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. But why? I know. Tumekataa. We refuse.
Haitakuwa pretty privilege per se.
Au ni watu
Itakuwa
binadamu.
beauty.
It is in the sense that
beauty.
he uses beauty and he creates beauty and he allows us to see
exactly.
beauty as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not evil to be a beautiful person or an
Yeah,
attractive person for that
absolutely.
matter.
Enjoy your privilege.
Absolutely. And I think the truth is, ultimately, honestly, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. In as much as there's a standard for beauty, people out there they'll meet their people, and sometimes it won't even make sense. So if kind of they're worried about whether you're attractive or not, sijali yo mambo.
Someone will find you attractive.
Yes, someone out there for you. Yeah.
So a lot of people actually diminish Esther's story because of that premise that God selected her because he deemed her beautiful amongst all women. And do you think there's merit to that? Ama she should be within the honor, she should be awarded the honor of the greats like Kina David and Kina, who are the other ones, like Daniel. Yeah, should she sit amongst the greats even if her ticket was she was attractive?
You can be attractive and then because both Snow White and the Queen, you can be attractive but be like
the evil queen.
Yeah, the evil queen. You can be a terrible person and not like hold to the virtues of like for you, your beauty is what sets you apart, and that basically makes you very prideful and elevates your status, your own perception of yourself amongst all other people. And now you can't relate with others, or you can't treat other people who are not like you.
Yeah.
In the same way. I think that's you can be beautiful and also not beautiful.
Vain.
Vain.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd actually get into this conversation, but yeah, even the Bible talks about how we should not only like pursue the beauty of braided hair and all this, but like pursue beauty of the heart, like being gentle, being kind to people, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and when people have that sentiment on Esther, they usually like read the first 2 chapters. and they don't take into account she actually stood up to a king who was not an
She did
Israelite
not have
king.
guarantee
Yeah.
And
of,
she
like,
could have
surviving
been
that.
killed
Yeah.
right mbele ya huyo msee, but she stood up for her people. And so there's a lot of strength and honor that she carries throughout her story that
She's
was
woman of
given to
faith,
her
absolutely.
Yeah.
by God. And so she should sit amongst those who are honored, as she is with her own book in the Bible. Yeah. And now with the 2025 version, that they kind of tried to make it work as fairness being having equity or sharing, but it doesn't work because the mirror calls the queen the fairest of them all for years when she's basically out overtaxing.
Is it the definition
hoarding.
of beauty now that changed within the mirror or something?
Yeah.
Like the algorithm, the internal algorithm ya kioo ilibadilika. This lady didn't adjust her metrics. She was like, I'm still pretty. But then the mirror was like, no. Now we're considering beauty in a certain type of way. Yeah, you're not fair.
Yeah, that
because
didn't
fairness
make
has
sense.
changed the definition and you don't know it. Yes.
Yeah.
With that. So now, and can a society like that exist where things are shared equally regardless of status? Because I think that's what they were trying to to present.
I don't know.
Because when ulikuwa na communism points when we were beginning.
I'm sorry. Okay. I maybe it's just it's just me believing very strongly just based off history and what all the experts have talked about regarding that ideology is that honestly it can't work. At scale it cannot work. At scale it can't work because ultimately human desire and ultimately people want more than they have. We want more than we have. So what are you going to do with that desire? Especially when opportunity to kind of create that wealth is there and it exists. What if you have a resource that's really, really valuable and
you share it with your neighbors?
With your neighbors. That's just not how the world works. I don't think it is. And for all of human history, it hasn't worked as a concept. And it's led those societies to kind of really problematic situations, and it kind of creates discontent because just thinking about that person who feels as though they are owed something purely because someone else has and they're like, we should give them.
Human beings are selfish and it can't work in that sense.
So now I think with the other question now, is God fair? Because I think when we think about it with our human understanding, in a lot of ways, we usually don't think God is fair because he doesn't do that. He doesn't award to everyone on earth, I guess, resources equally because there's still poverty, there's still war, there's still all these very bad things that are happening in very many places. So how do we reconcile that and still God remains nimejibu hiyo swali, God is fair, but how do we reconcile
his fairness looking at the state of the world? I think looking at the state of the world you might struggle for a few reasons if you only narrow your field of vision to what's happening in this lifetime.
Okay.
So
ulikuja chai gani asubuhi?
So if that's all your focus is what's happening in this world and you by your own metric are judging whether that is fair, people being subjugated to this versus people living in this, was it fair for God to create me as a Kenyan in this time of economic hardship under the Ruto regime? Should he maybe, I don't know, have created me maybe after when there's prosperity, or maybe in a country where should they have created me I don't know, more athletic, taller, fairer, left-footed, with some gift, insane ability? Then does that qualify as fairness? I don't think. I think ultimately what we kind of consider and what leads to contentment is thinking of this life just honestly as a gift, and not by the standard of what someone else has, or what versus what you do not have, but honestly what you actually do have. That is something that is, and everyone can find something to like really be grateful for. I know even when times are really tough, because that's, if you cultivate that skill, you find those things in every single day that kind of make you a bit more grateful about where you are, and think, yeah, God isn't unjust or unfair to have granted me this experience versus this, or to have created me this person versus this. He just did by sheer providence and put me in this world. And I honestly think that has been a gift, because I've been able to, I still have my parents, I still have siblings, I have people I can count on, friends, relations, people I can talk with and kind of connect to, and all these things. And so, do I have the same opportunity as someone else? And maybe I'm speaking from privilege as well, because there are people maybe who don't have those things. Don't have those things. And so when you kind of just limit your scope to what is happening in this world, I think you might struggle to answer some questions, because I can't say that fully, but I know God is just and fair. And he shows that perfectly in how he treats us, irrespective of all these things he has accorded us by his common grace kwa hii dunia. We all suffer the same fate, and that is, we will go 6 feet under. We will grow old. We lose our beauty, and all our vanity will be clear before us. We'll go down 6 feet under, and we shall stand before him to face his judgment. And what will be the dividing line there is whether our righteousness was earned by Christ and the penalty that he paid for our sin on the cross, or whether I want to pay for my sin on that day, and that makes him perfectly just. Yeah,
and also even just that sense of fairness and justice comes from God. You don't have that, like, it comes from like God, or how society even was built. It was built from kind of like biblical principles or something. So even if like a society is secular at this point, maybe in the past it was, but whatever the case, like even that sense of justice comes from God. So I'm in complete agreement with what you said. And even James, you were doing James the other day, and James talks about how if someone comes in who is dressed maybe in a shabby way, and then you tell them, weka uko chini, ama ukae, or sit at my feet, ama ukae uko nyuma, alafu someone rich comes, you want to show them the best, then why are you doing that? Isn't it even these rich people who take you to courts, who take you to So even the author of fairness is God. And I think I love your point hapo mwisho. Like at the end of the day, God will treat us all equally. You won't peana kitu kidogo hapo ndio he won't consider at your status, you are who you are who. He's looking at, did you put your faith in Christ or did you not? So I really like your answer.
And I think the just of Christ now comes with that on how he judges our sins, because now with that is going to be just yes, because the sin has to be paid, and Christ pays for it. And that's a really beautiful conclusion to this discussion. So it was very worthwhile. I hope you're still with us this far, even after our very long rant.
And the people being exposed here for some reason.
Kamisa has really earned them.
Nilikuwa pabaya, man. I think sijui ukiwatch episode ama mwenye taedit sijui niweke tu hii ya mwisho ya kwanza, alafu sasa tuanze kuwatch.
You know the way our editor really likes Steve, he may just do that. He may just do that.
Akituangalia pa akismile. So because I think we talked about most of the rankings when we were beginning on believability.
Can I add something? I'm proposing something to add on believability. So I watched the original, I watched the new one, then I watched the original. And then when I watched the original, I realized the dwarves had no reason to listen to
from the
Snow
mountain.
White. But the dwarfs had no reason to listen to
Snow White.
Why
in
did they
the
want to say
second one.
Rachel to Snow White? Because in the original, she comes in, she cooks for them, she cleans for them, and then the dwarfs kind of like her. So, like, when she tells them to do something, they do it because they really like her.
Yeah,
But
she
then
earned it, kind of.
she earned it. In this other one, she comes in and then she tells them to start cleaning their house.
Hey,
Who are
That's
you?
what-
Who are
What?
you? What?
is it because you're singing we clean now? Why is this person singing to us we clean the
Exactly.
place?
She sang really well. She sang her really hard.
Yeah.
But really, why would you come into my own house and tell me to clean my dishes?
Ziko chini, man. Ziko chini.
On believability, it's very little. Yeah.
Close to zero.
Yeah.
Close to zero.
Close to zero. You were remembering, I feel like you could tell that they are acting when they are acting, and which is kind of jarring because it's supposed to immerse you into the story.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it, you're like, they're acting. I can tell she's acting against nothing because now the dwarfs were superimposed on, yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, how was she? Like, yeah, that's actually an interesting thing to think about because now she's acting with like.
Yeah, they usually act with like tennis balls.
Or tennis balls.
Yeah, depending on the movie, because some of them they do like a cast or not a cast, like a mask of the character. So like I know when I was watching behind the scenes for this Marvel movie, the Thanos one, because Thanos is really tall, they had to have like, and no one is really that tall, so they had to have like those actors with things on their shoulders so that they can have that height, so that when an actor is acting against it, they have the eye.
Oh, they look at
they get it right. Yeah. So you could tell, which was very jarring with the, and I find it so unfortunate for such movies because when you watch the credits, so many people worked on it, and it just falls
flat.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Also, I'm sorry, I love Gal Gadot, my girl on the woman, but yeah, she wasn't scary at all. Yeah. I didn't feel her. Like, compared to, like, even Mufasa. You remember Mufasa, the
villain?
The villain. That was a good villain. Yeah.
So we had believability, acting, which we've spoken about. Generally, the other creativity. I think we've spoken about it in the first one. Yeah, so I think what is left is recommendability and the learning skill.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. You're wasting time. Anyway, learning. Watch this podcast.
We've read into it when
we
we
have
talked, like we've removed
some very interesting
things.
lessons here on beauty, vanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've just taken like one sentence, the fairest of them all, and then
went on a tangent.
Yeah,
I think also on recommendability, like, even though the movie was trying to correct like maybe some tropes like Kitambo Ka, for instance, the way Snow White was just waiting for a prince to save her, like she had kind of like little agency in the initial movie compared to this one. Like, even though it kind of tried to right some of those wrongs for the modern audience, I don't feel like it's a movie I'd necessarily tell someone, go watch. It wasn't too interesting. The plot, as we've said, was kind of, so, I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah. If you really, really want to watch a Snow White remake, like a live action, go watch Snow White and the Huntsman.
That was good.
Yeah, the one with Kristen Stewart and Thor. What's his real name?
Chris Evans? No.
Yes.
Hemsworth.
Prince Hemsworth.
Hemsworth.
Kenya imekataa kusema hizo majina zao. Sawa. But yeah, thank you. Any other points that we may have left out? Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We look forward to seeing you again. Bye. And whistle while you work.